In a pointed speech on Monday, Senator John McCain cautioned the United States against turning toward half-baked, spurious nationalism.
To fear the world we have organized and led the 3/4 of a century, to abandon the ideals we have advanced around the globe, is as unpatriotic as an attachment to any other tired dogma of the past that Americans consigned to the ash heap of history.
The Republican from Arizona made the comments shortly after receiving the Liberty Medal by the National Constitutional Center in Philadelphia. Former Vice President Joe Biden was on hand to bestow the medal to his friend, John McCain. Joining us now to discuss it, Vince Coglianese, Editorial Director at the Daily Caller, host of Mornings on the Mall on WMAL Radio right here in Washington. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much.
Donald Trump responded to Senator McCain today by saying, people have to be careful because at some point I fight back. Is this a low blow?
Well, I think the president is naturally sensitive. He's always sensitive to these things. And I think that's his way of saying that he is keeping his powder dry. Most people don't say that out loud, but in this case, he's saying, look, I'm holding back. And by the way, he made those comments to my colleague, Chris Plant, this morning. And as I watched him kind of say that this morning, I thought to myself, wow, that's going to catch fire. Because people care sincerely about John McCain. They think he's an honest broker. They may not always agree with him, but he does always speak his mind. And I think that's what we saw last night as he came out against the president.
And he has brain cancer.
Yes.
So I think that there is also a sympathy vote that goes along with anything with having to do with John McCain right now. Senator McCain has never held back, as you said, and he and President Trump have clashed a lot before this. Is this hurting the president and the GOP cause to have this titan duking it out with the president?
Well, I don't think it's giving them an assist in terms of getting them to work together. What I will say is we saw Senator Bob Corker recently, crack a joke about how the president needed a daycare center, all of these things. At their core, these senators need to remember they need to pursue a legislative agenda that's good for their constituents. If they're fighting with the president, that's one thing. But at the end of the day here, if they're going to get mad at him for not being an adult, they need to show that they are. And so even if they disagree with the president's behavior, so long as they agree with his agenda, they need to come to the table and need to vote for that agenda. And that includes tax reform, which they're talking about this week.
Well, yesterday was this Republican love fest, basically between Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell, talking about sharing the same agenda. You are in Washington, a Washingtonian. You cover this stuff. Is it true?
I think that they're putting on a very happy face, I think. And those two guys, I think they both came with separate agendas. One, Mitch McConnell wanted assurances that all of the people calling for his job, calling for his head, that the president wasn't one of them right away. Mm-hmm. I think what the president wanted was he wanted to be convinced that Mitch McConnell is going to pursue his agenda specifically on tax reform. They've had a lot of big tests here legislatively. So far, not much has succeeded, save Neil Gorsuch.
Tax reform, top of the GOP agenda. You interviewed Vice President Mike Pence today. He talked about the tax cut helping the middle class. He called himself middle class. Do you think that Americans are going to buy that? Did you feel that that was real?
Well, I think most times when you see a politician consider themselves middle class, you reflexively say, there's no way. All of you politicians get rich off of this job somehow. I don't even know how it is, but everybody gets rich doing it. Yeah, look, he's basically saying, look, I identify with the middle class. He said, I shop at Joseph A. Bank, I have student loans, I have these concepts of what it means to be middle class. And the important point here is that the President of the United States is insisting that this tax reform will be middle class relief. I was asking him questions about it because I know that some people are concerned there will be some middle class tax hikes. I do think that the noises we've been hearing from the White House and specifically the president over the past few days suggest he's going out of his way to make sure that they negotiate something that guarantees tax cuts for the middle class.
For the middle class. Thank you so much. Vince Coglianese, Editorial Director at the Daily Caller, host of Mornings on the Mall on WMAL Radio. Thank you.